So it's been a big turnaround from last year's loss, and not just returning to profit, but even beating estimates quite handily. What's behind it?
There has been secular growth across all our markets. If you look at America, for example, the fourth quarter, we actually bettered that, in fact, with the newer launch out there called Darunavir. If you look at other markets, India continues to do pretty well for us. Even after taking into account the negative impact of NLEM, we were able to post close to about 13% growth out here. Similarly, there was growth in other markets, EU, Australia, and parts of the other parts of the world as well. API grew handsomely, thanks to, in fact, a rebound in terms of cephalosporin products across the globe. So potentially because of all of that, we did fairly well. And the other part is we also had, in fact, a milestone in terms of our NC income from a molecule that we had outlicensed some time ago. That's included in the results. All of this meant that the top line as well as the bottom line did fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, you've done very well, particularly in North America. I mean, a 50% plus improvement in your earnings there. But what's driving it? I mean, something must have changed. You don't get that kind of growth suddenly in an ordinary scenario.
Yeah, you're actually not comparing apples with apples, essentially, because the first quarter of the previous year was actually an aberration of kinds. We actually had to take, the overall top line at that point of time was kind of stymied by certain, provisions that we had to take in terms of stock adjustments and the like. And because of that, it looks as though there has been a tremendous blip in terms of the first quarter results in America. But if we were to compare to the previous quarter, that's the quarter four of last year, it's the same, the same vicinity.
Okay, well, the growth in India was considerably less than that in your home market. How much of that was down to the fact that the government has been acting to control prices?
There has been a negative impact because the fact that, the government has been working on enhancing the NLEM list itself. And of course, there's been some kind of price erosion because of that. But in a general sense, the market grew handsomely and we benefited by that as well. If you look at, in fact, the volume growth, you could actually attribute about 5.5% growth out there. And of course, on top of that, we also had, in fact, a price increase, which the government allows us to take, essentially in the case of non-NLEM products, so to speak, which we did. And as a result of that, we were able to post double-digit growth. In a general sense, we have also been adding to the manpower, the feet on the ground in terms of sales force, and of course, working on productivity measures. Both of these actually paid off handsomely. And for that reason, we actually saw a pretty good growth, when it comes to the India business.